Are you racing 70.3 Maine this year? Well, if so, this is the video for you because in it, two very experienced Ironman U certified coaches and one with a lot of local coaching expertise are going to go through the course and help you get as prepared for the race via giving you all the hints and tips you need to know to smash your race day. So it's this video is brought to you by Smart Endurance Solutions and Tournament Sports, and it's all about 70.3 Maine getting you up to speed. So let's get to it. Okay, so what are we going to cover in this course? We're going to go through the swim course and sort of key tips for you, the bike course and sort of key nuances on it, and all you need to know about the run course. And at the end, we're going to talk a little bit about the race logistics that will help make your race a little bit smoother, what you need to pack, some tips on nutrition, and sort of how to handle the last minute nerves. So this is going to be a perfect video to get you prepared, whether it's your first main or you're looking to PB. But who are we? I am Coach Steve Moody from Dublin, Ireland. I'm an experienced Ironman U coach with 20 plus years experience. And I am delighted to have Coach Tyler Coquelin, who is a local coach who has brought an awful lot of athletes to the start and the finish line of 7.3 Maine. Tyler, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for bringing me on, Steve. Like you said, I'm a coach. I've been doing this professionally for about 11 years now. I've had a load of athletes race the course, love the area up there, and I can't wait to walk you guys through some of the tips and tricks for the 70.3.
Perfect. So let's get to it. Okay, I think we'll start off where everyone else's day will start. So I'm going to just start asking you a couple of questions, Tyler, because as I said, you're the guy with the local knowledge. I've got a lot. I am very keen to learn about this. I think I'll put this race on my bucket list. Um, the swim. It looks like it's one straight down point to point swim in the river. And how have your athletes found it?
Yep, so it's exactly what it is. It's a straight shot all the way down, but before you get to the swim start, you have to actually walk to the swim start. So there is a mile walk on race morning that you do have to have from transition to the swim start. The swim itself is great. I know that on their site it's rated the top three, at least in America, for 70.3 swims, and it's exactly like you said, straight down. The water it's clean, it's fun. Water temperature is probably going to be a little bit chillier. It is Maine after all. But the clarity of the water is just going to depend on if it rains in the days before. It is a river, so it is open to some alterations on race day.
Yeah.
Um,
Important question for me. This is all downstream, yeah? We're not swimming against the current. We're washed downstream, are we?
oh yeah, it is. It's all straight down. Um, and I see you have that red dot. If you could bring that up to the bridge up there, there's a couple of pinch points right here. So this point right here is an obvious one, and they're going to have kayakers and paddle boarders pushing you off to help avoid running right into where your cursor is right there, that little red dot. So don't worry about that. It's gonna be impossible to kind of run up against that landmass right there. And same at the bottom where it bends in again. So they're not going to want anyone to miss the turn, so they're going to actively be pushing you to where you need to go.
Fantastic. Okay, cool. Actually, just on that, a top tip here I know we've a couple of races in Europe where we have to walk a good bit. This is a perfect time where I always pack either a pair of old hotel slippers or some old runners that I don't want to ever use again. Because the worst case, you're going to be walking up here in your wetsuit and okay, as much as possible be on a clean road, but you don't want to stand on a piece of glass or something like that and ruin your day. So as I said, anytime I go to a hotel, I always steal slippers because I know they're going to be great for transition. You just ditch them here. There'll be bins there of the runners and all the rest, and just get rid of them and make sure your feet are safe to start. Um, Wetsuit legal normally, or what's the?
Normally, yeah. I mean, even if you look at pictures online, there's loads of people in their wetsuits. But again, we're a couple weeks away from race day, so anything could happen up there. It is the Northeast, weather-wise as well. So I would plan on wetsuit, but just being conscious that it could not be wetsuit legal.
Okay, cool. And this is well also a good thing with the being a river swim that I don't think there's going to be too much wildlife. We're not talking about any jellyfish or anything
Yeah.
like that. Which
No.
it's not a Maryland, so that's okay.
It is not, definitely not.
Okay. And is it rolling swim start as usual in an Ironman race?
Yep, The usual swim start. Do you want to talk about the corrals?
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, so again, rolling swim start for those who aren't used to or are new to Ironman racing, they used to have mass starts where we jump in, and it was very nerve-wracking for beginners. So cognizant of that, they changed to what's called a rolling swim start. And what will happen is there'll be corrals here where you will see signs with times, and that time you seed yourself on the time you expect to finish. So there'll be sub 30 minutes, sub 35 minutes, sub 40 minutes. And then they will let the athletes in around four or five bunches of four or five at a time, and they'll come to what you will have here. And you'll have a row of volunteers at the start, and there'll be these metal gates and all the rest. And as you can see, people will line up, and every 10 seconds, a beep will go off. These guys will raise their arms up, and then those five athletes will go into the water. The arms will go down, another 10 seconds. It's all very controlled. It's all it manages the flow of people into the water. Um, Key tip here is do seed yourself according to your own swim time. As I said, if you've never done faster than a 35-minute swim in an Ironman a 70.3 before or in the pool, just put yourself in as 35-minute because it's easier to was it because if you put yourself ahead of where you're gonna swim, some athletes will the stronger swimmers will swim over you, and also you miss the ability to draft as in swim on people's feet and get a bit of it. But I don't think that will be an issue with the downstream current. What would you recommend in terms of people, in terms of their estimated swim times, Tyler? As in, do they you
So I
take
would
a few
go
minutes
off of
off?
what you normally do, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be a little bit faster, and a lot of people are going to be placing themselves in the corral ahead because of that. There's
Okay.
going to be kind of a range in each corral as well. So if you're in that 30 to 35-minute corral, you can look around and it's okay to ask other people like, "Hey, what are you realistically thinking here?" They might not always be honest with you, but you can get a good sense of who's around you and what you think you can do with them.
Yeah, cool. And you might end up finding a draft buddy, as in I do that a lot in races.
Yeah.
I go like, oh, what are you? So you're swimming 35 minutes, cool. And he might wander off, but I'm just sitting beside him going, if he does that, that's cool. I'm be on his feet all day long. I'll say thank you at the end, which is
Yeah.
very polite, but he's my best friend for the next 35 minutes. Cool. All
Yeah.
right. So anything else we think on the swim? It looks like it's going to be a
Yeah,
good fast one.
it's going to be fast, and because it's going to be fast, you're just going to have to watch out for other people. This is not going to be a swim. You're going to be able to swim away from other people. It's not like a non-moving water swim. Because you are moving fast with the water, everyone's going to be spaced tighter together for longer. You will eventually spread out, but it's just going to take a little bit longer. It's not going to be 200, 300 meters. It's going to be a little bit longer into the race there.
Cool. All right. Yeah, and another thing for me as well, if it's a downstream swim, I always encourage my athletes to increase their glide a little bit more because you're getting a lot of foot with the water push. So you don't need to do that high stroke rate swim. Glide. A lot of glide. That water's pushing you down. Almost you're sort of just holding out for a couple of seconds and let it's just saying
It's going to
surfs up,
feel
baby.
awesome.
But
It's
but enjoy it while you can.
yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. So the guys have done the swim. We come out at the exit here. Oh, another thing we were talking about there with downstream swims, you do have the if you're not paying attention, you might go a bit further down than you need to, and then you have to turn back up, and you'll see the unenjoyable event of actually swimming against the current. So be very aware of when this red boy's coming at the end. Slow yourself down. Make sure you don't get pushed away from that swim exit.
Yeah, and I would say that's probably the only real stress point of the swim is that exit. That's all that you should be stressing about, nothing else.
Fantastic. Cool. All right. Looks like there's a little bit of a run up to transition. Is that carpeted or is that on grass or
Well, first, I highly recommend you go do it a day or two before so you know what you're getting into. There's going to be places where it is, places where it isn't. So just be aware of how long it is so you're not shocked on race day. It's a little bit longer than you want it to be for sure.
yeah, cool. And there's no wetsuit swimmers and we don't think there's any wetsuit strippers in this. So therefore also when
Yeah,
you're
I don't
running
believe
up,
so. Yeah.
yes, it's a bit of a chore. Use that time to take your wetsuit, start taking your wetsuit off and get it down around your waist and the rest. So don't have a dead time, etc. Okay, cool. Let's talk a little bit about our now again in cut-offs, 1 hour, 10 minutes to get it done, get the job done, but it doesn't look like it's going to be a problem with a fast swim like that.
Yeah, you should be good.
Fantastic. Okay, our guys have had a super swim. They've we're now back into transition. Um, it's a single transition. So Tyler, as in anything else we need to know? We do have that run up and all the rest.
Yeah,
Um,
the arrow there for the where the transition is, it's likely a little bit further up, and that's going to not be grass. It's going to be covered in bikes and tents and racks and all kinds of stuff. And that's another area where I highly encourage everyone to just walk through transition the day or two before, when you're checking your bike in, when you're checking in yourself. Just see the flow of the transition, and that helps at pretty much every race you go to. Where's the entrance? Where's the exit? How do you loop through it to get your bike or whatever you need? And that will pay huge dividends on race day.
Yeah, you don't want to be that guy who's lost in transition where they
Right.
come in and it may seem simple when you're sort of in the cold light of day when you're racking the bike the day before. It goes, oh yeah, this looks fine. And then you sort of completely forget you're going to come out of the water. You're going to be a disoriented because it means was it horizontal for the last while, be surrounded by water. You're running up. There's lots of moving parts. There's lots of people, and you go like, and bikes will have the same amount of bikes when you leave transition won't be there. There might be a lot less, and you just go, oh my. So I'm a big fan of looking for landmarks or reference points. So if you're walk through it the day before, so you come in and you go, okay, right, there's rack one, two, three, four. The swim entry will be here, and ask the volunteers where will I be coming in from the swim? You'll be coming in that gate there, and you go, okay, walk it. Okay, so I walk past three racks, I go up, and my bike is going because they're all numbered racks. My bike is going to be right in front of that tree there. So I know I have to find that tree, and then that's my reference point. And then also, as you said, when you're coming back, also remember you're coming back into the bike in, um, it will be a different point. So make sure you walk from that side is when you're going to be coming back in because you'll have to go one, two, three. It might be a different route or flow as you just correctly described it, Tyler, and get your bike. Knowing that beforehand, forewarned is forearmed, yeah?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Just go through, walk it, try it out. I know people that, are a little bit more nervous. They walk through it 3 or 4 times in the days leading up to the race. No shame in the game. You got to know what you need to know.
And also another tip I give my guys is take photographs of the reference points and all the rest so you can look later on and go, "Oh, okay, cool."
Yep.
And it's a I think someone cried that they're not a clean transition where you have to where you don't have everything in transition bags like blue and red bags where the full Ironman. You have
Correct.
everything.
Yeah. At this race, there's no bags. So everything's going to be at your spot, essentially. So with that, I believe you're going to talk about how to set it up really fast, or am I
Yeah,
jumping
no,
ahead?
agree. So, like as I said, just to reference in other races, they use a blue and red bag system. You have to where everything's in bags. This is slightly easier because you don't need to worry about the bags, but it just you have to think through the flow of that. And when you lay out your kit, you'll think about okay, right. So I'm coming from the swim to the bike, and you're going to be taking your wetsuit off as you come along. And then you think about when you get the wetsuit off, what's the first thing you have to do is make sure your helmet is nearby, so the helmet goes on. And was it you're going to get your bike shoes on, you're going to have your race number put on, and so lay that out in those items that you're going to pick up in order and just make it very easy. Like there's no point in having the helmet face down. You're going to pick it up like that and put it on that way. Simple things. And also lay out your runners in a way that when you're coming through T1, i.e., going from the swim to the bike, that you don't have to get through them, put them to the other side because you'll only need them when you're coming back from the bike to the run T2. So just lay it out. And there's a couple of videos in the links below that I show that how to set up a nice clean transition. And that will help you. Okay, anything else that we think about transition, Tyler?
No, that's a pretty good start. I mean, just make sure you go through it. Make sure I mean, you can even watch other people go through it at the days leading up, and you can catch some. Oh, that's a faster way to go through than what I was doing, and you can get really good ideas from just standing and watching for 5 minutes. It's going to be busy in there, so make sure you know where you're going.
Yeah, and also it's also that key thing. Never underestimate the desire of experienced triathletes wanting to talk about their experience. And we're all very helpful in transition. Have you done this race before? Yep. And he goes, well, this is what I'll do. And they'll give you some hints and tips and go, by the way, it's going to be if you go here, it's going to be a little bit quicker. always tap into the community because yes, we're racing on the day, but everyone wants everyone to have a good race experience. So tap into that experience, but be prepared. Once we start talking, triathletes rarely stop.
Yep, that is very good advice.
Okay, cool. So we'll talk a little bit about the. Oh, actually, just while we're on it, guys, I hope you're enjoying the content. Myself and Tyler really enjoy was it sharing these tips. And if you are interested in other content in terms of other kind of more local races on Tyler's turnaround page, his YouTube page, or if you're looking for other race reviews in Europe, etc., make sure you check out our YouTube pages. There's the handles. Subscribe. Even you can hit subscribe. You're going down here, but make sure you hit up Tyler's page as well, and make sure you like the video because we're really happy to make loads of this content and get you guys up to speed and talk about the races we know about. The more people follow us, the more races we're able to do. It's a win-win situation. Okay, but you're really more interested in what's going to happen on the bike. Okay, so bike course, one loop, good roads in Augusta. What's your kind of what's your feedback on the course, Tyler?
So yeah, so this is a one loop course. I call it a race around the duck. It just looks like a duck to me when I look at the just the map of it. You're going to be going around in a clockwise pattern. And it's typical Northeast roads, so there's going to be some good, there's going to be some bad. So just be prepared for a healthy mix. It is Maine after all. But for the most part, it's going to be decent roads. The elevation, which we'll dive into in a second, it's chunky here. So you're going to be using a lot of your gears, and you can't forget about the wind here either. The wind is going to be going typically in two directions, and that's from the southwest to northeast or vice versa, right? So along the backside of our duck for the first 15 miles or so, you could be in a headwind or you could be in a tailwind. And either way, this section is a big trap on race day. Big, big trap. Steve, do you have the elevation profile that you can pull up for us? Perfect. Yeah. And you could see of our 3,200 feet of elevation, I don't know what that is in meters off the top of my head. But for 3,200 feet of elevation, you're getting a big chunk of it in those first 15 miles there on the backside of our duck. And that all happens before our first aid station, too. And then once you make the turn and you're on the underside of our duck, sorry, it's just what I see. Once you're on the underside of it, then
Say the
the wind,
undercarriage.
yeah, then the wind becomes a crosswind no matter what you're doing. And again, during this whole process, it's of course going to be swirling a little bit as well. I mean, if you look at that profile elevation wise on the right, it's up, it's down. You're going to be using a lot of gears out there on race day. Arguably, one of the harder miles is going to be when you pass the second aid station and leading up to the bottom of mile 45 on the bill of the duck. If the wind is trending in the ways that it normally does, this turns into a headwind, and you're going to be experiencing a headwind pretty much from that aid stage, that second aid station, all the way back to the transition finish. And if you look at elevation conjunctively with when we're doing this from mile 30 on, it's up, it's down, and you're just going to get a lot of elevation in there, but nothing straight out right? It's just you're up, you're down, you're rolling around. And there are a couple of tight turns out here right after mile 15. You can see that's a little bit tighter than 90 degrees. You can see that visibly on the map. Same at mile 20. I think that's 20 down there.
Yeah.
20 down there. And these tighter turns out here, these are just the really obvious ones that the map is showing you, but there are a couple other ones that you need to be aware of as well. Highly encourage you to go drive the course the day before. Just drive it, just see what you're in for. I always recommend that. Do you do that as well, Steve? Recommend that before?
Absolutely, yeah. If you've got the option, and these aren't closed roads, are they, on the race day, or is it like are they shut off
They
to the?
they're they'll do their best, right? But they have the cars will be on the roads. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But again, yeah, I think it would standard kind of Ironman. They'll have lots of police at the intersections, and there'll be whenever it is on a open road part that we're in a secluded part. No, 100%. Especially on a lumpy course, you want to see like this looks horrendous on an elevation profile, but when you drive it, it might just be, it may not be as intimidating at the time. So even having that ability to drive the course And it's a simple one loop course. It's going to be to your advantage. Road bike or TT bike? It's from your side, for the way you're talking, Tyler, I'm thinking it's a TT bike. If you're going to be dealing with headwinds, you're going to make yourself aerodynamic and all the rest. What's your thoughts?
Absolutely. Yeah, this is a TT bike course 100%. A lot of the courses out there, I mean, the TT bikes now, I mean, it's you can get away with the TT bike on almost all of them. But this one, because you're up and down, you're going to be driving a lot of these downhills to get up some of the uphills a little bit easier. And with that, you need the TT bike. You just need to be aware of some of those turns, and that's where, just like the transition talk that we had earlier, that's where this comes in, riding the course the day before, so you can, we've even had people ride the course and get out at key moments, right? And say, I need you to ride the course here, get your speed up and take a turn here or do whatever, something like that. And they can really get a better feel for the course. Like, do I need to come out of the aero bars or things like that? And that really, really helps on race day. Before we get too far into this, watch out for other athletes on the course as well. Because it's up, it's down, there's a lot that I've just thrown at you guys. And another thing is there's going to be other athletes out there as well. It's not just one athlete racing the course, unfortunately. Not yet. But for in a couple of weeks when we have everyone getting together here, you need to be aware of other people, and there's going to be faster athletes out there. So watch out for cycling towards the middle of the yellow lines. Make sure you are off to the right side unless you're passing, and just make sure. What I always tell my athletes is make sure you do a quick look back behind you when you are passing someone else, because you never know if someone's coming over the top.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm all about that as well. And I'm all about communication. It takes absolutely nothing to shout out,
Yeah.
overtaking. You're telling the guy in front you're making a pass. And if the guy behind is thinking about it, he won't, because he goes, okay, you're gone. So being as verbal on these courses, it's not being rude, it's being smart, as in because it's athletes that are, and there will be a great mix of athletes, and you might have super swimmers but weak bikers. So it's not a case of if anyone's in front of you, they're stronger than you. You might have athletes that are really good at descending or they're poor at climbing. So you'll swap over all the time. So when there's that constant movement, overtaking up and down and movement around and staying out of the draft zone, by the way, folks, you've got to talk to one another. And there may and if someone gives you jip for it, it's just you're just keeping them safe. They've got like, oh, whatever guy has, and like I've got that a couple of races. You don't need to shout at me. Instead, I'm shouting for everyone, as in I'm
Yep.
making sure that the guy behind me knows, so no, 100%. Um, aid station. Anything else we need to know on the bike course, mate?
Yeah, that big hill that you talked about at mile 11. I believe if I remember off the top of my head, I think that percentage is less than 7%. I think it's like 6.5, somewhere in there, 6.7. So even though it looks like it is a super steep hill on race day, if you are a decent climber, that 6.5, 7%, it's not going to last forever. But just watch out for putting all of your eggs in that one basket for that one hill. It does come early on in the race, and you have a lot of up and down later on. So that's not a hill to go full gangbusters on.
No, exactly. With these lumpy ones, these will burn out your legs, and if you've burnt all your matches here, it's going to be a long day at the office. So again, with Ironman stuff, it's all about pacing, fueling, and nutrition. Speaking of fueling, aid stations, 16 miles, 32 miles, and 46 miles. Um, Here's our little bananas showing where they are. Um, for those new to Ironman aid stations, there is. Oh, by the way, before the key thing as well, where you've got cutoff times, you have from the point that you cross the timing mat and you've done your swim, your T1 transition from swim to bike. You've got 5.5 hours to get back to T2. All right. So, which is the same place, but just be aware of that. And we'll talk a little bit about aid stations. This is a typical flow of an Ironman aid station. You'll have a place to chuck your bottles. You'll have water in bottles that will fit into your standard bottle cage. You'll have mortal hydration. Now, this has caused all sorts of consternation in the triathlon community. Ironman changed from Gatorade Endurance. It's a contract thing, I guarantee it. But
That is what it is. Yeah. Now
but
that it's after July, there is no Gatorade at all.
yeah. Absolutely. So you're getting mortal hydration, but it will be pre-mixed. I know when you get the samples, if you're going to try it, it comes in powder format, but it's pre-mixed. It's in bottles. Um, the flavors, mixed reactions to what people think on it. Some people think it's nice tasting. Some of the flavors a bit of wonky. They've got like, was it margarita mix? And I would really want to drink a
Oh
margarita,
yeah.
but
I
mango
will
apparently it's
say
good.
with that, a lot of people initially hated it, but some of the athletes that I coach are starting to come around to it, but it's taken a little while for that to happen. Um, so if you haven't tried it, you should try it sooner rather than later because your race is coming up.
Yeah, agreed. Morton gel is still there, the bars, and then water, and again throw the trash. Handling Ironman aid stations is an art in itself, and myself and Tyler could talk about this for a good hour in itself, but we're kind of conscious we want to load you up on race specific info. But if you're interested, there is a 7 minute video down below that takes you through, demos it, shows the key things you need to talk about, and how to handle an aid station, get in safely, secure your food, and out safely in as quickly as possible. So that's in the links below. We won't waste too much time on that. And because we've got to talk about the run section. All right. Oops, I'll take that back for the moment. Do you want to talk us through a little bit on the run section? It's unusual. It's a one loop course. I haven't seen that in a
Correct. Yep.
while.
Yep. It is. It's very refreshing. It can be a good thing or it can be a really bad thing for you on race day. The one loop course is going to be arguably as hard as you make it out to be. The large challenge on this course is going to be the hill that comes at about, I believe it's mile 11, if you pop up that profile. Another thing that I'm going to recommend is make sure you head over to the landing page, the Augusta landing page, and you can see a really good photo of the run course right along the train tracks, right where that 201 route sign is on the map down there. That's going to be a good representation of what you're going to get on some of this run course. It's going to be covered, it's going to be protected from the elements at a lot of points, and it's going to be running on asphalt like a bike path in the US. So
Okay.
it's asphalt running, right? And because the large challenge is looming at mile 9.5 there, and then it just kicks up, you only have 415 feet of elevation gain. And granted, there are going to be some smaller hills to kind of conquer as you approach that. But again, I said it at the beginning, this is going to be as hard as you make it to be. If you had a lot of fun on the bike, this not challenging run course is going to become very challenging. You know, if you really underpace the bike and you left a little on the table, then this run course is going to be right up your alley. Okay. And the key is going to be finding that balance on race day. Um, before I keep rambling on, Steve, do you want to add anything?
One thing I love about this, by the way, and it's unusual as well, because normally Ironman courses are their, three loops or whatever. This, you will be able to see who's in front of you. You will be able to work out how far they're ahead because you get the turnaround point. And for example, I'm typically chasing people in my age group, chasing people who I'm coaching or in my club. So like you'll get to here at this turnaround point, except you will have seen your competition come down. I always start counting seconds before I get to the turnaround point, and I go, okay, he is only 2 minutes ahead of me. I reckon I'm running faster than him. And then that way, it actually the game is afoot, to quote
Yeah.
Mr. Sherlock Holmes. So this is a great course if you're chasing someone, and if they don't pace the hills correctly, and again, don't kill yourself up a hill. Change your cadence a little bit slightly, to more of a choppy stride, go up the hill, and then lengthen it on the way down, so to allow gravity to give something back to you, and that's the way you kind of work hills in a course. Um, but no, I like this course. And it's asphalt as well. It's easy on the foot. The only other thing I say as well is in your head, and again, as Tyler was saying, need to pace a half Ironman course. As in, so I always break it into something like the first 4 miles. I hold back a little, as in I sort of go. I actually feel like I could do this all day because you won't. And then you start if you once you get find your legs and you've got a bit of aid station on board, um, then you start opening up, hitting your kind of for the next 2 blocks of 4 miles. You're gonna was it tap into your kind of race pace you've done in your long runs, in your brick runs. And then the last 4 or 5 miles, there's nothing about it. It just sucks. It just gotta get mentally tough.
Yep.
Um, make sure again, and the way you keep on top of that is you make sure you're fueled well on the bike because you're fueling well for the run at the same time, and you constantly talk about fueling on the doodle on the run station itself. And
Yeah.
speaking on that, this is the flow of the run aid stations. There's water, mortal hydration, food, cola. It tends to be a nice sugary kick up the arse. And again, only trash cans there. I tell my guys never miss an aid station, even if it's a bit of water on down the back of your neck. If it's food, just keep on board. I also like to feedback that we've paid a lot of money to Ironman for entry fees. These Morton gels are expensive, so I never carry anything on the run with me. And going, if I'm taking a Morton gel, which meant $6, $7, I'm taking it from Ironman. This is my way. And in my dream scenario, eat enough of them to actually break even. But I think that's a lot of Morton gels.
That'd be quite the day. That'd be quite the feast out there. But yeah, like you said on these aid stations, use them. We don't know which one's going to be the ice station out there. Make sure you ask that when you do check in. That's going to be one of the coveted answers for you, along with where the penalty tent is on race day. So make sure you ask where the ice station is because I mean, it is Maine, but it does have the potential to be hot up there and it does have the potential to be humid even, you know? So if it's 70 degrees Fahrenheit and it's 80% humidity, that's still a pretty hot day. So be aware of what's going on. And just like you said, even if it's just to dump water on the back of you or the front or whatever, just to cool yourself off, just be aware with what you're doing on race day and use these aid stations. Watch the video that was linked earlier and just see how you can attack an aid station. You can get a lot done in a very short amount of time.
Absolutely. And again, back to your heat management point as well. A lot of people make the mistake of I to keep myself cool, I just have to chuck water in myself, and they're gonna drinking loads and loads of water, and I drink loads of mortal hydration, and they end up having that offense where they get really sloshy in their stomach. There's only so much your body can sort of process in terms, especially when you're under duress racing a half Ironman. So it's a smarter move to keep hydrated, but not to the point where you're sloshing, and then using the water and the sponges or towels or whatever they have,
Yep.
or ice, stick it down the front of your tri suit, allow that to keep the core temperature down, because otherwise you'll overheat, and that's a big long day at the office.
The old
Yeah,
Maca approach. Yeah.
that's it. Was it? I taught him everything he knows. Maybe not. Okay, anything else on the run course, mate? It looked
Just be smart. That's an easy thing to say, but I mean, on this course, it really just comes down to that. Figure out what you did on the bike, and if you think you overdid it, ease into the run a little bit more. You said 4 miles to kind of ramp things up, or just establish yourself. Maybe take a mile or two longer. If you're having a really, really good day out there, maybe you shorten that warm up period, but just listen to yourself out there, and once you feel like something's wrong, react to it right away.
absolutely. And as I said, that's where the aid stations come in. As in, these are almost like as in, if you have to do that sort of internal diagnostic, I'm cramping up here, so like have a look. There's a lot of salt on your tri-suit or your kit. That okay, well, I need to get some sort of was it more of the ESO drink into me, more mortal drinking. There'd be salty snacks at these tables as well. Get stuff in.
Yeah.
It's all about adapting and surviving and keeping moving in half Ironman distance, really.
And your aid station trick, your turnaround trick is going to work great at the second turnaround, right at the top of this hook here. That's going to work wonders because you're going to be able to see who you can catch or who you can hold off until the finish line. So that's going to be huge, huge out there.
And there's nothing. And by the way, again, what I always tell my guys is catch hard, but pass easy. So when they see you, when your competitor sees you, always look breezy, as in like, hey, how you doing? I'm having a great day and all the rest. And you got and it just feeds into their mental anchors that, oh my God, I'm falling to pieces. And Stephen looks so fresh and he's smiling. Why is he smiling? It's mile 10.
Maybe you did
And then,
teach
but then
Macca
when he
his
turns around
tricks.
to go, oh my God. But just and then, as I said, passing, hey, listen, great day, buddy. Next time. All part of the games. Alrighty. So again, for your day, you've got with your swim, your T1, bike, T2, and run. You've got 8.5 hours to get it done. It's a good it's more one of the more challenging courses, but I don't think that like this, just play it smart on the bike, as you said, know when to attack, when to kind of hold back, pace your run, keep fueled up, you'll be getting there. Any other thoughts on the course itself there, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, we could keep diving into specifics here for a long, long time. If you have specific questions or just kind of theoretical questions, make sure you reach out to us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just going to give us the contact details at the end of this video.
Yeah,
This is what it's all about, folks. This is your finish line. As you can see, a load of crowd support. It looks epic. That's the red carpet. And again, when you're on the run section and things are feeling a bit hard, that's what you need to visualize. That's your nirvana. That's where your reward for all the hard work's training. And as Tyler said, we could go into details about lots of stuff, but there's some other things you should bear in mind, and we're not going to go through them in great detail because we want to keep the video short and sweet. But if you're looking for hints and tips on race day nutrition, there's a video in the comments below. Worrying about your packing, was it how to pack, what to bring, etc. Downloadable video and nice checklist that comes out with it as well. Check out in the comments below. You're in your taper now, as in just to sort of like make sure that you don't do anything daft like overload your training. Was it convince yourself you're getting was it the flu when you're maybe not? How not to lose your mind and tapering, and some key things to what we'd recommend as well for last minute tips. Get your bike serviced, make sure you've got all your electronics charged, read the athlete guide again, subscribe to our YouTube channels. That will also guarantee you getting a super PB. So don't forget that.
I
And
think
there's a
I
load of
read
other
that
videos we'll
somewhere.
put in
Yeah.
the comments as well. Um, Last minute, the actual key race event timetable that you need to be aware of. Registration is on only on Friday and Saturday. It opens at 9. So make sure you get there. That's where you'll pick up your bag and all the rest of your I think they're starting to give out the t-shirts now before the end of the race, which is a bit weird, but I do. And I think American races give out any American race they give out the caps and the little flags, which I think is cool. I think European races need to do that. Um, some athlete briefings on the Friday at 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. Um, Saturday, this is a key time as well, where you bike and you pick up your timing chip. You only get your timing chip when you check in your bike, by the way. So don't panic when they hand over your bag and there's no timing chip. And this is the perfect time where Tyler was talking about walking the course. Now you know exactly where your bike's going to be. Walk your flow. Where I'm going to come in from the swim to where my bike is, or where I'm going to come in when I'm bringing my bike in to drop it off after the 90K bike. Race morning transition opens at 4:30. I always recommend getting there early, just to make sure nothing happened to the bike overnight. And that's when you put on your bottles, your bike computer, your food. Don't put it on the night before because it just encourages lots of critters to eat it and stuff like that, and things can get knocked over. And if it's warm in the morning, your drinks will get warm, yada yada. You will have access to your bike on race morning. Um, the race of your life starts at 10 past 6. It's going to be epic. Anything else on the timetable there, Tyler, that we're going to add?
Uh, One of the last things is I know the transition opens at 4:30 and that swim start it starts at 6:10. That might seem like a lot of time on race morning, but you never know if you get a flat tire, if something happened over the course of the night, if it rained and you need to adjust your gears or just something that sounds silly. You get a little bit of time to do that. And you also have to keep in mind the 1.1 mile walk from transition to the swim start. So that has to be factored in as well. It's not quite like a neighborhood, just show up and race. You have a little bit of extra things to do at these bigger races.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Great call. Right, listen, again, as I said, we hope we've helped you to feel a bit more, remove any nerves. We feel that there's been a lot of info on here, so that we hope that's helped. But again, we really want to sort of any last minute questions, feel free to email myself or Tyler, info@smartenduranceSolutions.com, Tyler Coquelin at Gmail, because we're more than happy to help you. We get a lot of athletes to the start line, we get a lot of athletes to the finish line, and we like this as an option of even just helping a lot more people. Because in the end of the day, we're athletes ourselves, and we just want to help as many people into our community going forward. And again, like the video if it was useful, and subscribe to the channel. Anything else, Tyler? We'll just give it a
Thanks
leave at
for
that.
watching, guys. Yeah, feel free to reach out with extra questions and we'll be happy to help.
Fantastic. Have a great race day in Maine.